What's up, Mason?
What's up, Adam? How you doing?
I'm good. I needed to just let that sigh out. It's
You
good to be
know?
back on the, yeah. It's been a week and it's only Tuesday, but we're here recording. Back to favorite part of the week or of every 2 weeks is recording podcasts with you, Mason. Before we jump
Agreed.
into this podcast, we've got an ad read or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Assemblage
Assemblage
sponsors.
sponsors. Here we
Here we
go.
go. All right. Yep.
I love it. Perfect. Yeah. So
Yeah, we're still searching. Still searching for a sponsor, and unfortunately, did not get a response from Miller High Life with my howdy and telling them to call it the Cremant de Milwaukee. But that's all right. I don't know what I expected. So we're
you
back
never know.
with it's
Could be
still
on the back burner.
Yeah, they might just be still like running it through R&D and kind of like putting it in like test groups and seeing how people kind of feel about it. What do you call those? Like roundtable discussions or
I think you got it right. Test groups. That's really it.
test groups? Yeah, that's probably what they're doing. They're tabling it for now.
You never know. If the response is very positive, here we go. That's what it's next.
Yeah, they're just kind of waiting to break the news to me, and
it's going to be exciting. It's going to be like 6 months down the road, and then Adam Shoemaker, Cremant de Milwaukee.
Yeah, no, it's going to be it's not going to be me. It's going to be Assemblage.
You're right.
Mason
You're
and
right.
Adam, the savior of Miller High Life in the European Union.
Love it.
Unlike last week, this week's episode is not on High Life. I know you guys are bummed, but we're back with episode 39, I think. 39?
Yep. I think that's right.
Mixers. We're talking about mixers, alcoholic mixers, part 1, just in case there's a fuck ton of mixers out there. So,
this list could go on and on.
Yeah. And I think we're starting like a whole series where we just have like something part 1, and then we're just kind of leaving the door open for whatever happens. So today we've got a couple topics. We're going to be kind of talking about 3 main things: tonic, ginger beer, and bitters. So we're going to kind of start it off with tonic water, something I know Mason loves in his cocktails. So Mason, take it away with tonic. And before you do that, what are you drinking?
So to the end, when we go to bitters, I'm drinking an old fashioned. That's what I'm drinking tonight. How about yourself?
I'm drinking just a beer, a little classic city lager from I don't know who makes this, Creature Comforts, which is here in Georgia somewhere.
Nice.
It
that local brand on. I love it.
Yeah, it's kind of light, crisp, refreshing, something local. Ran out of High Life and decided to buy this instead. I know. Well,
you got to change it up every now and again. After, what was it, 45 beers in a month or every day, something like that?
Yeah, it's 20 every day.
20 every day. You're like, I need a break from the Miller High Life.
No, I didn't. I have not done that yet. We're gonna do it in July or something like that.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
It's still coming. But so with that old fashioned in your hand, let's hear about some tonic there, Mason.
Yeah. So, first on touching on what is tonic. Tonic water is a sparkling water with bitter notes. Pretty simple. It was originally created for an anti-malaria and consumed by British soldiers, which is, very interesting back in the way days. I didn't actually get an exact date of when it came out, or who the first time it was created, but still something very cool. Quinine is the main flavor profile, which is what gives it that bitter flavor. I know a lot of people don't actually like quinine. Yeah. It's not
not a fan, but
yeah, you're not alone, Adam. A lot of people don't like that flavor profile. I think it's something like very, very unique, and you have to almost like build your own taste buds towards it. You have to. It's like Fernet Branca. The first time you have it, it's like most of the time you're like, this is, and then by the third, fourth shot of actually having it, multiple different sittings, you're like, okay, I kind of like it, or I get it, you know?
Yeah, and it's weird because I love bitter things. I love Fernet Branca. It doesn't love me a lot of the times, but I love it. So yeah, it's I just had never understood. It just must be. It's not necessarily the bitterness. I think it's that whatever quinine tastes like, which I guess is quinine. I'm just not a fan of it.
Yeah. So quinine itself is a compound from a bark called the. I'm gonna butcher this. I'm sorry, y'all. The chinochon. I'm gonna go
Cinchona.
for it. Chichona tree, which is commonly found in the tropical regions of America, Caribbean, and Africa. You know, this is why I have you, Adam. You're also my translator to kind of help our viewers actually know what we're talking about because my mouth does not work properly sometimes.
That's all good. It's Cinchona or whatever you said. It's all the same.
You know, it's all about the same. My God. But in today's world, you know, tonic water, if you were to go to the store, you were going to go to wherever to go get it, probably not as good as it was for you back in the day. And that's because of all the sugar that we normally add today. So, what are some typical drinks that you would have? Really great one, classic gin and tonic. You know, splash of lime, get that going. I think that's one of my wife's favorite, you know, cocktails to have when she's going out. Vodka tonic, of course, and then a Campari and tonic or Campari and soda with a splash of tonic. Whiskey tonic, Japanese highball, and tequila and tonic, which is probably my favorite to go for if I'm going to get that tonic flavor. You know, I really like that idea of like gin and tonic, but I prefer the agave kind of flavor potency. That's my personal thing.
Yeah, I might have to try the tequila tonic because I think for me it's just like I probably really only had tonic with a gin and tonic, and I like gin, but sometimes the botanicals with the gin and kind of the bitterness and like the flavor profile of um, the tonic water too, it's too much like flavor, too many different things going on. So
Yeah,
I think that's kind of maybe why I don't love it.
yeah.
So maybe the tequila tonic might be a better choice for me.
You know, I think always expanding your horizon on especially mixed drinks. Just because you don't like something one way doesn't mean you wouldn't like it another with a different
Hmm.
spirit. And I found that so many times over, like the Negroni, which I do really love the Negroni, but I like it so much better as a Boulevardier. You know, that's my cocktail of choice all the time now because of that.
Yeah, yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So tonic brands to go out for top three, I think, and also top three in the world: Fever Tree, Q Mixer, and then Canadian Dry. I think they just all make a very consistent, really delicious tonic water. Uh, Other brands: Polar Tonic, Schweppes, Ziva, Top Hat, London Essence, 365. You know that Whole Foods brand. You can also sponsor us over here. And then Regata Dry Citrus Tonic, which I think is a very small brand. Haven't actually worked with that one at all, but the rest I have actually tried and worked with.
Nice. Yeah, lots of different. I feel like everyone who kind of makes like a soda, they're kind of getting into that tonic market.
I agree.
Because I feel like not many people, like not as many people, drink like soda anymore. Meaning like Coke, Diet Coke, all those kind of things. I feel like that's kind of fading away a little bit,
Yeah,
and
I think
people are
that's more
getting
of our
more.
parents' generation.
Yeah, I feel like now like people are drinking more of like the Lacroix, the Aha, the kind of the flavored sparkling waters a lot more than they are drinking soda, and I think that's just for
Sugar.
health reasons. Less sugar, all that kind of stuff. I kind of think that if most people are drinking a soda nowadays, like that are our age, they're going to be mixing it with like rum or
Jack.
whiskey, Coke, Jack and Coke, stuff like that. So yeah, I think tonic you can make some really cool like sodas with it if you want
Mm,
to. I know a lot of people make kind of their own sodas. You could be a good base to
yeah.
get started with.
And, you know, it's crazy. Just like that was just a small list that we have right now, but there's so many cocktails and different producers of tonic and all of the brands we're about to talk, or all the categories we're about to talk about. Just today has just exploded with the ability for everybody to make all these things, which is really cool.
Yeah. Well, next thing, let's talk about some ginger beer.
I love me some ginger beer.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like lived for the longest time. She doesn't really drink much anymore, but for the longest time, like she loved Moscow mules, and you know, you need ginger beer to make a spicy. You need ginger beer to make Moscow mule. So what is ginger beer? It's a spicy, sweet, and carbonated beverage. Typically, even though it's called beer, it's a non-alcoholic beverage produced by fermenting ginger, sugar, and water, and then typically they'll add some yeast or something in it to kind of give it that fermented flavor, but they won't let it go far enough to actually make any alcohol. The history of it, huh?
Sweet.
Nice.
Nice. God.
I was so caught off guard by it. Sweet. That shit just caught me off guard so hard.
I was just like thinking of making awesome ginger beers, and that'd be dope.
Yeah. No, that shit fucking caught me off guard so hard. I was like, sweet. No, but it can be sweet, but typically more spicy than its cousin ginger ale. Spicy. The history of ginger beer originated in the Caribbean in the 1700s. The British were responsible for this as well. Weren't they responsible for tonic too?
I think so. Yeah, I think the British have they just invaded everywhere and stole everybody's shit. So not a surprise that I bet you it wasn't even them, but they took credit because they were there first and brought it back everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Bastards. So yeah, they kind of were the ones who founded ginger beer originally. It was popular among sailors because it was not only like it gave them like a spicy but sweet something to drink, but it also gave them energy and it helped them combat sickness on the ship too. When you're like as the story goes, I guess, when you're in school, you hear about sailors getting scurvy, which is basically a lack of vitamin C, which is typically found in like citrus fruits, ginger, things like that. So this was kind of a way for them to get some of that vitamin C to help them not get scurvy. In the 1800s, the kind of became a staple in Europe for the working class. And then in America, it really became popular during Prohibition, where it would be mixed with kind of some other non-alcoholic things to mimic cocktails. That spice in ginger beer kind of can mimic the burn or the spice of alcohol in a cocktail. So it's kind of a nice way to give, if you're looking for a non-alcoholic substitution, ginger beer could be really nice to kind of give you that burn and mimic it.
Idea. Straight classic ginger beer with root beer extract splashed in. That might give you like that rum and coke or gin and coke or Jack and Coke kind of feel idea. Just thinking out loud because that popped in my head while we were talking about this. I think I'm going to try that sometime.
Yeah, I'm not really often in the mood for a non-alcoholic cocktail or a mocktail, as they call. But there's nothing wrong with it. And I honestly, my work now, I make a lot of mocktails for people, in the catering world and stuff like that. So it's really important to know how, because a lot of people don't drink or choose not to drink or are looking for a healthier lifestyle that I have not chosen for myself. So.
Hey, you know what they say, alcohol preserves you forever.
That's right. Just pickled. So I kind of referred to it earlier, ginger beer versus ginger ale. So ginger beer is brewed like beer. It's fermented a little bit spicier, or I should say a lot spicier. Spicy. And it's very intense ginger spice forward. Ginger ale typically is made with ginger extract and other flavors. Like typically they'll put like citrus or some other things in ginger ale. And it's
Oh wait, no.
This pod is just going off the rails.
The old fashioned's hidden beautifully.
Yeah, I know. I should have went with spirits tonight. I'm not quite on Mason's level yet, but we'll see by the end of it. I've got a bunch of booze back there, so if I need it. But yeah, so oftentimes, and ginger ale typically has a lot more sugar in it than ginger beer. It's more of I would consider ginger ale more of like a soda, and ginger beer is more of a like cocktail mixer, I guess. Like I would kind of put it in the same category as like a tonic or soda water or something like that. Ginger beer can also be made alcoholic, which I know we were kind of talking about this before. Like we both didn't know that before this podcast. I've only ever seen non-alcoholic ginger beer. And most of it is, but they do. I don't know who makes alcoholic ginger beer. I'm sure it's mostly like local breweries and stuff like that.
Definitely want to attempt that though. That'd be cool.
Yeah. They can range from 2% to 11% alcohol, which an 11% alcohol ginger beer, if you're not expecting it,
like if you did that with and use the 11% in a Moscow Mule or a whiskey mule, you'd just be crushed. Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, I gotta try that now.
That's a good vacation cocktail.
Can I get an alcoholic ginger beer? Make it into a.
Can I get a
whiskey
mule? Double alcohol, dark and stormy. So kind of the big brands, the big hitters in the ginger beer sphere, going to be Fever Tree, Premium. Q Mixers is also another big one. Goslings, I know they make a lot of ginger beer. Goslings is really famous for their Dark Seal rum or Black Seal rum. Black Seal, Dark Seal. One of the two.
I don't remember.
But there's also Barrett's Original, Bundaberg. Bundaberg. Sounds German. Royalty ginger beer, and then there's some smaller ones, Main Root, and Goya Jamaican style ginger beer. It's fun to say. And then
I think I remember having that when I was in Jamaica or in the Caribbean. Yeah.
Goya.
Goya.
Isn't that a seasoning too, Goya?
Might be.
Don't they make like some sort of seasoning salt or something?
You know what? I think you're right.
Yeah. Just one Goya though.
Yeah, just Goya, not Goya. Goya
is ginger beer. Goya is just your seasoned salt, I guess. I don't know. Cocktails with ginger beer. Again, you could make really great mocktails with ginger beer. But if you're looking for something a little bit stronger, which is what we typically go for, you can do Moscow Mules, which is essentially ginger beer and vodka and lime juice. You can do a dark and stormy, very similar, except for it's made with rum. I could be wrong, but I'm 99% sure that a dark and stormy is very similar, but just made with rum instead of vodka. El Diablo, a Pim's Cup, a Mexican Mule, which is, again, kind of like a Moscow Mule, but made with mezcal or tequila. A whiskey highball, a Floridora, which sounds delicious. I looked it up before the podcast. It is a gin, ginger beer, lime, and raspberry liqueur cocktail. Which sounds
fire.
Yeah, Floridora.
Blend that on ice. That would be fun.
Yeah. Ginger Mule, a Kentucky Mule, and an Irish Mule. So lots of mules. No
City,
donkeys
baby.
here, though.
Yeah.
Only mules.
Mule all day long. I don't know. I got nothing with that one.
You wanna? We've been pretty sweet this whole podcast, talking sweet things. You wanna get bitter for a minute?
Yeah, I could get a little bitter with this.
Yeah,
And
life's been pretty good, and I haven't been bitter enough. So I think we really need to take some time and just be bitter about
well,
bitters.
bitter about bitters. Well, I'm enjoying some bitters in my old fashioned. And what would it be? Angostura, of course, and we'll get to that. But what is a bitter? Traditionally an alcoholic preparation flavored with a bunch of botanicals. Still kind of what it is today, but it's still considered a non-alcoholic, so it can be sold to underagers. Um, but was originally used as a medicinal use for medicines and digestives, but now is more of an actual digestive and mixers for cocktails. Common ingredients they include uh, herbs, bark, roots, and fruits. The most common, which again, I need to use my interpreter here. I'm just going to let him speak on this.
Yeah, so it's oh shit, sarsaparilla,
Yeah.
sarsaparilla,
Yep.
cassia, which is a Chinese cinnamon, gentian, orange peel, and cinchona bark.
Yo, you
So a
killed
bunch
it.
of different cascarilla. I think it's cascarilla. I don't know.
You got it. Better
So
than what
it's
I would
just a
have
bunch
said.
of like herbs, bark, roots, berries, all sorts of stuff. I know in culinary school during I forget what the history of a cocktail or something. We actually made our own bitters, and they just brought in like a bunch of different spices and roots and herbs and all sorts of stuff, and we made our own bitters, which is pretty cool. But the origins of bitters, they go back to the ancient Egyptians who may have infused medicinal herbs into jars of wine. Um,
Ooh, not so much anymore. Well,
yeah, that would, yeah, I question like how people stayed alive back then. Although they didn't, but like
they did, but
you,
they didn't. I
they did,
think
but they didn't.
the average of what the oldest person in the village was like 40 years old, and that was like
Yeah,
really old.
yeah. But then again, they probably just had people who were like the tasters, like the testers.
You're right, and
It's like
then
it's your job. Like, is this poisonous? And then like they eat
five
it,
ten
and
minutes if
no,
they didn't
you're
die,
good.
okay, I can drink it.
Yeah.
Great.
It was further developed in the Middle Ages because of Jesus.
Oh
I would
gosh,
not want that
yeah.
job.
No, not at all.
Um,
Never.
it was further developed in the Middle Ages because of distillation, and by 1806, this is kind of when bitters really became like into the spotlight, kind of became more mainstream. Um, when American publications referenced the popularity of a new preparation termed a cocktail, which was described as a combination of a stimulating liquor composed of spirits of any kind, sugar, water, and bitters, which is essentially what a cocktail is. So
Basically, what I'm drinking right here.
still to this day, I will say that some cocktails nowadays will forgo the bitter or the bitters, but a lot of them still have those bitters. So, you want to talk about my personal favorite? I think a lot of people's personal favorite bitter
Well,
there, Mason.
it is also the oldest, most well-known brand, which is Angostura. And Angostura was a preparation containing medicinal bark from the Angostura tree. And then instead of it being named from the Angostura tree, it was actually named after the town of Angostura, which is present day Ciudad Bolivar in
Ciudad.
Ciudad. Excuse me. See, translator here. I need them. Boulevard in Venezuela. Bolivar.
Bolivar.
Recently, I guess not recently, 1875, not recently, but it moved to Trinidad in 1875, where the German physician Jonah Gottlieb Benjamin Siegert
That's a
composed
mouthful.
that was a mouthful, composed a cure for seasickness, stomach malades, amongst other medicinal uses, and then thus creating the House of Angostura as we know today.
Which I will say, like, I love Angostura not only in cocktails, but A tip and a trick if you're hungover: a little bit of soda water and Angostura bitters, and it will make you feel so much better.
Really?
And it's even refreshing because I love Angostura bitters.
Yeah.
So like, especially when I was working in restaurants, like I would just go up to the thing, soda water, add, 5 or 6 dashes of Angostura bitters, and that's why I shouldn't drink beer on the air. 5 or 6 dashes of Angostura bitters, and it's like a really nice, refreshing, slightly bitter drink. Just be prepared to be asked, like, "Oh, are you hungover?" Like, no, I just like the way it tastes, which
That's
people think is
fair.
weird, but
I want
yeah,
that
that's
now. That's a good way to
that's
flavor my waters.
exactly, and it gets a little bit of alcohol into your system slowly,
Just a little,
just a dash.
not enough to notice, right?
Yeah. The next bitter, Peychaud's bitters, was developed by an apothecary, Antoine Amédée Peychaud, in New Orleans, Louisiana. Commonly associated with the very famous Sazerac cocktail, which is essentially 1.5 ounces of rye whiskey or cognac, a quarter ounce of absinthe, 1 sugar cube, and 3 dashes of Peychaud's bitters. Um, and I do enjoy a Sazerac every now and again.
Mm-hmm. Do you prefer it with the rye or the cognac?
Rye.
Hmm. I think I'm
Yeah.
more of a cognac guy, but it's
Really?
been a little bit since I've had a Sazerac again, so I think I need to go have back to back or side by sides
Little
again.
Sazerac taste test,
You know,
blind tasting. I mean, you'd be able to tell the difference immediately, but
you know what I'm saying? Kind of action. You know, double fisting it, 40 for 40. What is that?
kind
Edward
of
Ford to hands.
Edward Sazerac hands.
As Edward Sazerac hands. Edward
Uh,
Sazerac hands. That sounds like like Edward Scissorhands. Oh my gosh, that would be hilarious. You got little tiny ones on each finger. Oh god.
oh god. It's been a while since I've seen Mason feel himself like this. Like, man, he's on a roll today. Usually it's me who has to be kind of reeled in on this podcast, but I'm over
Uh,
here like, Alex is gonna need to babysit your fucking drunk ass after this podcast.
nah, I'll be fine. I'm going right to bed. I gotta wake up early.
Fair, I do too. So bunch of different types of bitters. You've obviously got Ango or Angostura, Peychaud's, Fee Brothers, which is a non-alcoholic bitter. You've got Reagan's Orange Bitters number 6, Scrappy's Bitter Cube, the Bitter Truth, and the Bitter End. And
Great.
there's probably so many more bitter people out there that are making bitters.
So many.
But
Big brands. I know Woodford does their own. I'm 99% sure Jack Daniel does their own as
I
well.
think so.
You know, I think almost everybody who does like a really great whiskey probably has their own as well.
Probably. Because whiskey goes with bitters.
Straight up old fashioned right there. That's all you really need. Orange twist, but sugar cube. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't really like. I forego the sugar
and,
cube.
and some ice and
Yeah. No.
What kind of cocktails use bitters there, Mace?
Yeah. Well, the old fashioned as I'm drinking tonight. Then, of course, the Sazerac, as we touched on already. And if you didn't know, the original martini did have bitters in it. Today, if you were to go up to a bar, sit down and order martini, it would never come with bitters. Like, that's just not the standard anymore. But you could ask for it, and it would be done, and they would understand you hot shit or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, then moving right along into the Manhattan, the champagne cocktail, which I wasn't super comfortable with before doing some research on this, but literally bitters and champagne, which I guess could go well. I would just suggest using not so great of a sparkling wine to do that, because if you have a really great champagne, that's just a disappointment to your champagne, honestly. It's so good by itself. Side note, and then the Sawyer. So those are the main cocktails that I listed. There's probably 100,000 I'm missing right now because, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I can think of that there's probably plenty of them.
Yeah, and some people like I never understood it, but I was with some people this weekend and they're making different champagne cocktails like French 75s, champagne mojitos, and Pure Royales. And excuse me, and they were using Taittinger champagne, which is like a $55-$60 bottle of champagne. Not that it's like overly expensive, but
That's still
I'm
expensive.
like, you really can't. Like, it's kind of a waste. I mean, of course, they were just some people are just drinking champagne too, which then I understand. But like, if it were me, I would have the
Too.
Tat and J for people to just drink champagne, and then like something that's not $60 a bottle for all the champagne. Because at that point, like once you add gin, lemon juice, or rum and mint simple syrup, you really can't taste the champagne itself. So,
No.
but these people had some money, so I don't think they're worried about $60 bottles of champagne.
Hey, if you got money to spend, you might as well spend it.
Yeah, that's true. Can't take it with you.
Can't take it with you after life.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, you ready to? I mean, it's a little quick guy, but that's all right. It'll
you
give
know,
our listeners a break from us rambling on.
it's a good way to, get on the move and have one straight drive. You're listening to us one time, not there and back kind of thing. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
true. That's true. So I guess we only have one other thing to talk about, and that's the question of the day.
So, what is the question of the day?
Question of the day. If you had to choose only one of these mixers to have for the rest of your life, what would you choose? Mason?
That's a hard one, honestly. I Tonic, ginger beer, bitters. They all have so many great cocktails. Gosh. All right. If I were to, I got to list it in order. I'm thinking bitters, tonic, ginger beer. Even though it makes me very sad to get rid of any of them.
Yeah.
What
Why
about
would you
you?
choose? Why would you choose bitters?
Just because, like, the Manhattan and the old fashioned, two cocktails, like, that really got me into the world of cocktails. I don't think I could go without them ever. I love my tonic, but I get soda water. I have at least that fizzy option that's still in my life. So I got something, right?
True. True.
And then ginger beer, unfortunately, I would have to substitute with ginger ale, which wouldn't be as good, but at least I have somewhat of that kind of flavor as well. So bitters is my answer.
Yeah.
Final
I would say
answer.
bitters. Yeah, I would say bitters too because I'm a bitter bitch. I just like not even for the cocktails, but just that soda water with bitters when you're not feeling so good, or even when you are feeling good, and it's just like a refreshing drink. I would definitely go bitters, and then I would probably go. I'm gonna give tonic two because I'm gonna try and give it another chance.
All right.
So I'm gonna give it another chance, and then I would probably go ginger beer three, just because I don't drink a lot of ginger beer, which is an
Mm.
interesting choice because I don't like tonic, so I'm putting it above ginger beer. But I'm gonna force myself to like tonic so I can be a little less bitter and a little more classy.
Hey, there we go. That's what it's all about.
I'm changed.
Changing it up. Leveling up your life. You know what I'm saying?
Leveling up my life. That's right. That's right. I'm always trying to level up.
Wow.
Well, this has been Mixers Part 1.
Here we go, sponsors.
Here we go.
Here we go.
And yeah, it's been episode 39, Mixers Part 1. Make sure you smash that subscribe button and share it with...
subscribe. Wait.
Like, subscribe.
Yeah.
Smash the subscribe button.
Woo! Let's go. You know what I'm saying?
And share it with your friends. That'd be great.
That'd be helpful. Pass it along.
Until next time, Mace, you got anything else?
Nah, until next time, Adam. It's been a pleasure.
No.
To our peoples. Boo boo.
All right. Until next time. Peace, everyone.
See ya.